Greetings, everybody. My name is Mark Nitkin. I'm in the College of Liberal Arts, and I'm joined today by Dr. Tim Rice from the College of Doctoral Studies. And in this module, we're going to talk about some less common sources and assignments and how to enter them into the credit hour analysis sheet. So I'm going to start off by going over these assignments that you might not see in every course, but certainly are still fairly common throughout our programs. The first is capstone and what is termed a capstone component, and that can be in the form of a paper or presentation. Then we're going to talk about worksheets, reflective journals, case studies, laboratory exercises, and self-assessment activities. So we're going to jump into the credit hour document, and we are going to talk about a capstone assignment in the form of a written assignment. In week 1, this is in cell 12 under the undergraduate map. We're going to be using the undergraduate 5-week map for this example, but it should be, this same item is in all of the different time map sheets. So a capstone component is when you spread out the capstone assignment over multiple weeks, and you might have the students, in this case in week 1, maybe you have them write a proposal or a prospectus that is saying this is what I want to study and talk about in my capstone project, and then the student is going to receive feedback on that paper that might give them more direction on what they're going to look at and topics. So this would be like the very first part of a capstone project, that you might have them do in week 1. And in this example, maybe we're going to say that in column E, you're going to want to write the rationale and at what minute rating you're going to have each page count. And we ask that you keep the same rating throughout the capstone project for a single course, but obviously this, you can vary this by course to course. The range on these components is 120 to 180 minutes per page, and that includes having students find up to 12 scholarly sources, and it also includes all of the time for preparation, formatting, writing, preliminary draft, and other aspects that can contribute to the final capstone assignment, including revising, editing, and then eventually the final submission. So we're going to take this off for the moment. Also, when, as we've said before, when there's a range of times like 120 to 180 minutes, if you don't have a strong justification to go kind of lower or higher, we ask that you use the median value. So in this case, we're gonna do this would be like a 2-page we'll call it a 2-page proposal at 150 minutes per page. And a reason to go up or down would be if the type of writing or the topics that are being required for this particular assignment are either, a little bit less demanding or a little bit easier for students to comprehend, research, or if they're a little bit harder. And that's, really based on how the assignment is written and what those topics are relative to the level of the course and the student that you're dealing with. So in this case, that would give us 350 minutes for a capstone component in week 1, in this case, a written proposal for what the rest of the research is going to be. And then we're going to go to week 3. In week 3, maybe this will be a detailed outline or a kind of a rough draft that's a little bit shorter than the final paper, but still, a significant component of the paper of the capstone assignment. So in this case, maybe it would be a 10-page detailed outline and annotated bibliography. And that would be at 150 minutes per page. So that would give us 1,500 minutes for this component in week 3. And obviously, these capstone components, and as well as the oral component, which I'll show you, is just a little bit further down, right under formative and summative presentations. There's a capstone presentation component. So once again, this could be a draft if the student's going to produce slides and eventually a recorded presentation. And perhaps you have both a written and a presentation component, and you can certainly put that in using the corresponding minutes per slide. These things are not mutually exclusive. They can be used together. And then in week 5, there is no longer a component. Actually, I'm sorry, there is a component, and there's also then just the full assignment. So in this case, if the final paper was going to be, let's say, 20 pages, and that's going to be at the middle value, and that since this is the final presentation where they're bringing all the other scaffolded components together, you can use and you should use this greater value for the remaining pages. So if the final paper is 20 pages, but they've already done 10 pages, then you would only count the remaining pages that are going to contribute to the paper. 20 pages. So 20 pages total requirement, but perhaps of the 10 pages of the detailed outline and the annotated bibliography, maybe like 2 pages of that was the annotated bibliography. So maybe 8 pages were already, completed. So then you would count, and also too here we can use Alt-Enter to give ourselves spaces in the cell. So it would be 12 remaining pages at 300 minutes per page. So that would give us 3,600 minutes in the week 5 for the final capstone component. Now, if you have students just write the capstone assignment in week 5 with no other scaffolding, then you would just have the total page amount that is required here. Also, in this case too, and this is up to the course developer's discretion, I did not include the written proposal in the pages that were already completed because, maybe in the case of this course, that content that the student created for there doesn't directly translate into what they're going to write for the final paper. It was more of a preliminary. But if maybe another example where this capstone component could be used is maybe in each week, like weeks 1 through 4, you have students write a different section of the paper. So they, in week 1, they write kind of the introduction and the, maybe some of a lit review, and that's like in week 1, and then in week 2 they write 1 or 2 other sections, and so that those all they're going to get feedback on it, but then it's going to really very directly, they can use almost all of that content in their final paper, so you would not double count that. So if you had them do like 4 pages that directly contributed to the final capstone assignment each week, you would not count that. You would only count the remaining pages that the student has to complete in week 5. So that's the capstone components, capstone assignment, and it also you use that same rationale for if you're going to do the written, or whether it's written or oral, which are both in all weeks, weeks 1 through 5, or in a longer course, a 6-week course or a 9-week course on the corresponding time map. Those components are all there present every week. So next we are going to go to back to week 1, and we're going to talk about worksheets real quick. Sometimes the scrolling of the sheet is a little sensitive. I'm using a trackpad instead of a mouse, which I think mouse would be much more easy to navigate the document. So Tim, it did that thing again. I can't. You're muted, but I don't know why. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, I didn't do anything, and it's like, is it because I like scrolled all the way to the bottom of the sheet? I feel like there's something weird with the sheet. Remember, there, it's back. But yeah, it was like because I like went. I mean, you saw it, and it's like usually when you're in a worksheet, like if you're in column, I wonder if it has to do with because look, I can't even click in columns A and B, probably because how Wendy like locks the items, but which is good.
Yeah.
But because of that, so like I'm in column C, but somehow as I was scrolling down through the document, yeah, oh there, see it.
Yeah.
There it went. It was like, I think it was when I hit enter in column E at some point, but like, see, I'm trying to like scroll over and it's like not revealing column A. I feel like we might need to figure out why this is doing this, because this could cause problems for people when they're trying to work with the document. But you've never had it do that to you?
Never. Yeah, it's weird.
Weird. Like you can see, like I'm trying to like actually it's not letting me scroll left or right, and there's no. Let me maximize the window.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe if you maximize, it would actually.
There's no scroll bar at the bottom. There's only a scroll bar at the side.
Huh.
And it's just like column A disappears, but then when I went like all the way down to the bottom of the sheet, crap, I do not want to have to redo that. But
yeah.
it's like when I was all the way down here. No, it still won't let me. It's like I'm using, oh, there it goes. Okay. So maybe you can navigate it there at the top. That's weird though.
Yeah, it is really strange. I agree.
All right. Well, maybe I can just start presenting from the worksheet part, and then maybe James will be able to edit that.
Yeah.
Because it was really, I got through the whole capstone thing. I think I did a pretty good job of explaining it.
You did, yeah.
And then I'll just start on worksheet, and I'll try to make sure I don't do whatever I did to make column A disappear. And we'll have to ask the other people in the committee if they can open up the document and if they can cause that to happen, if we can figure it out, because we should definitely update that before before the final version is sent out. All right, James, for editing, if you are able to edit the end of the capstone here to where I'm going to start on worksheets, I will give you a transition. So.
Okay, I guess go from, yeah. So James, we'll let you do your magic.
All right, now we're going to talk about worksheets back in week 1. A worksheet can be a variety of different tools. It's something though where students are doing activities you know, they are solving problems. And so you know, you might have multiple choice matching, you might have short essays on the worksheet. And this is it's rated at 30 to 60 minutes per page of the worksheet. And that includes preparation and writing. And when you're creating worksheets for a course, you know, we ask that you think about a 30 to 60 minute per page amount of time that students are going to be spending. So let's say in week 1, you know, you have a worksheet that's 2 pages, and maybe they're pretty intense, so they're at 60 minutes per page. There's a lot of activities on there. Maybe there's a number of short essays and things that students need to research. So 2 pages at 60 minutes per page. You know, of pretty intensive content. So that would just be registered at 120 minutes for those 2 pages. And, you know, worksheets are available in every week, this item. And as we said, it's somewhat on a case-by-case basis, but we ask that you try to design your worksheets for courses so that they are 30 to 60 minutes per page. And if not, you know, that could be an area where you might have an exception, or, you know, reach out to the credit hour committee and figure out what the best option moving forward would be. Next, we're going to go to journals. We're just going to stay in week 1 for ease. A reflective journal is where you are asking students usually to reflect on their progress in the course, their understanding of topics in a given week, maybe even just reflect on their personal life experiences related to the course or course topics, but it's really being graded primarily for completion or for length. You're not looking at different, you know, like learning objectives that are being covered. It's more of a reflective activity. So this is 30 to 60 minutes per reflective journal, depending on length and complexity. You know, usually you would have maybe a half page to 2 pages. And so that could, you know, if you're going to have students do like a 1.5 to 2 page reflective journal, then that might be on the 60-minute realm. Or if you're just going to ask them to do like half a page to 1 page, maybe that's more on the 30-minute realm. So maybe we're going to have a 1-page reflective journal in week 1, and we're just going to call it 30 minutes per page. And so that would be 30 minutes there. And next, we're going to talk about case studies, which of course is a, you know, where students are given a problem, a case. You know, there are a number of case studies out there that are used, that are available through different publications, through different governmental or non-governmental organizations. And it's really where students they read up on a topic, they read up on a problem or situation, and then they usually have to go through an activity where they're coming up with some sort of solutions, you know, action plan, something like that. So this is 120 to 150 minutes per page of written content that the students need to produce based on the case study. And this includes, you know, outside researching, pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and the final draft of the analysis and the case study report. You would also want to, if the case itself is, you know, you would want to put the case itself number of pages as a source that the students are reading, and then the case study writing that they're doing for that in this section. So let's say we're going to have they're going to have to do a 4-page case study analysis. And, this, we're going to just do it in the middle range. So we're going to do it at 135 minutes per page. And that's going to give us 540 minutes. Yeah, and once again, this is available in any week, and case studies are pretty clear on what qualifies and what doesn't. But if you're unsure, you can always reach out to the credit hour committee or the credit hour at ashford.edu for more information. So last, I'm going to talk about self-assessments, and these, similar to reflective journals, you're not grading students based on, whether they're correct or incorrect, or whether they're meeting certain learning outcomes. This is really a way for students to assess their own understanding of the material, and it could be in different forms. Usually it's just graded for completion, and this is 30 to 60 minutes depending on length and complexity. A common one would be like quizzes or maybe short essay questions that students can complete on their own, and then there's usually some sort of key or feedback that will let the student know how they're doing, but they're not being graded on whether they're correct or incorrect. So maybe in week one, after they complete everything, there'll be one self-assessment quiz. Maybe it's 10 questions, and we're going to say that that's going to take them 45 minutes. And that could be both for completing the assessment and then also reviewing the feedback. So the level of feedback that's provided should also factor into how much time you're giving to students. So that would just be 45 minutes in week one for that self-assessment. So those are the activities that I was going to talk about, and we are going to pass it over to Tim, and he's going to talk about the activities in the right-hand column. Thanks. Over to you, Tim.
All righty. That was good.
Oh, yeah,
all right.
Stop sharing.
I'm going to go ahead and start sharing.
Maybe a little long.
No, it was good.
Well, I think, I think you'll probably be able to get through your yours before I have to go. I've got like 17 minutes. So.
Yeah, I will definitely get through it. That's for sure. All right, let me just get my presentation here.
And I'll go on mute and
yeah. Come on now. Now my computer's going to screw up. Let me turn this off real quick. Somebody's blowing me up on my work phone. All right. Okay, here we go. Why is that happening? Is it just showing? Okay. Give me a second here. I'm escaping that from current slide. There we go. It's better. See, that never happens. Are you seeing on your screen? What are you seeing? Just the presentation?
I'm seeing the presentation and the next slide and notes and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that should not be happening. Now I'm having issues with it. Go figure, huh? That should not happen. That does not make sense. That didn't happen last time.
No.
Odd. Let me just go down here.
When you shared, did you share the slideshow or did you just share your screen?
I just shared my screen. Let me go and stop that real quick. That should not, yeah, it says, There's a screen. Okay, yeah. See, that shouldn't be happening. There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there, but it happened. Okay. So I'll go ahead and get started in 5, 4. Thanks, Mark. We're going to look at this portion, these 6 different less common assignments utilizing the actual credit hour analysis document here in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Actually, I am sharing my screen. Let me start that over real quick. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I had some stuff that I wanted to use on my phone here, okay? In 5, 4. Thanks, Mark, for, okay, 5, 4. Thanks, Mark. I'll go ahead and share the last 6 less common assignments that you'll find on the credit hour analysis tool or the Excel spreadsheet. And first one we're going to look at is collaborative group projects. I'm going to go ahead and go to the document here, and we're going to take a look at each one of these that we had on the presentation. First one's collaborative group project. And basically on any group project that you might have, this is something that some classes are going to have, some faculty members will have in their courses. It is evaluated on a case-by-case basis, and typically you're going to be looking at it based on 4 areas: the preparation of the actual project, application analysis and reporting that comes with the actual project too. And the case that I used here, I actually decided, because it is on a case-by-case basis, to come up with 30 minutes per student for all aspects of the group project for this week, okay, because we're in week 1. So I decided to go with 30 minutes. Went ahead and put 30 minutes into the spreadsheet here into column C. And that way we actually know how much each student would have on that. And then after that would be interviews. And when you look at the interviews here, and of course we'll go to the diagnostic treatments and in-class treatment plan, questionnaire, and portfolio next. With interviews, basically what they're talking about here is, like, for instance, when I'm teaching a class in the sport performance psychology classes, I may have my students go out and interview a sport performance psychology expert. And in this case, the document asks for 45 minutes per question. Typically when I do mine, I'll ask my students to ask up to 10 questions. So in this case, I went out and was very specific in putting down 10 questions at 45 minutes per question. I want to go back also to the 30 minutes per student for all aspects of group project right there, just so you know, it's very specific, okay? In this case, it does mean that it's 450 minutes for this week in doing the interview assignment there. Next, looking at the actual in-class diagnostic assessment. Now, with a diagnostic assessment, you're looking at, it's basically their pre-tests that serve as a barometer for how much preloaded information a student has about a topic. It really does help faculty members see how much the student may know or not know about a topic. So in this case, I looked at it from the standpoint, the document itself asked for 90 minutes per assessment. I had one assessment and then also added a video that would be 30 minutes in length. If you look at the document here, it says 90 minutes per assessment. And then if you do have a video, to go ahead and add the video viewing time, plus the amount per assessment. So I put down 120 minutes, and then I was very specific in that. The next thing would be an in-class treatment plan. And this is something you'll see in the counseling program or counseling classes at Ashford. It's an assignment that asks students create a detailed plan for a case study, which consists of the following parts: presenting a problem, diagnosis and symptoms, a goal, objectives, and appropriate interventions. And so with an in-class treatment plan, it's 90 minutes for a treatment plan. And so in the case of this one, I'm going to go ahead and delete some of the stuff that I had there. So it's just one treatment plan at 90 minutes for a treatment plan. Okay. And I'll put that in over here. The next thing that we'll look at will be questionnaires. Now, in this case, the student in this week, or actually the course in this week of the course rather, is going to ask for the student to do a questionnaire that's 10 questions in length, 4 minutes per question. And again, they're only completing in this case. Now, if you were developing a questionnaire, asking students to develop a questionnaire, you would add 45 minutes for any instrument layout and formatting. And again, that's only for creating the questionnaire. In this case, it's just completing for the student. Next up, we'll go down here. Actually, I'll come up a little bit because it's above here. Trying to find should be right there. Okay, Portfolium. So what Portfolium is, so everyone understands, Portfolium, it refers to a social networking platform that all classes at Ashford have in their class. It allows any students at AU to, or any recent graduates of AU, to actually connect with businesses and employers and present their previous academic work and projects to supplement their resumes. And again, these are found in every one of the AU classes. And in this case, I had them put in one portfolio at 30 minutes for the first week. I felt like that was the best way to utilize their time in this case, especially with week one. Many students may not have actually utilized Portfolium before, so maybe have a little bit longer in that case, maybe a little less in future weeks. It all depends on the developer and student. Now we'll go back to the presentation here. So we've already covered all of these areas. One thing that I want to just follow up or finish up the last video here with the questions, any questions here. First and foremost, there are 2 different locations that you can access the training and the credit hour analysis tool. First and foremost, in each one of your colleges or your divisions, you will have a course development orientation module, and this can be accessed via your administrative login. Another place that you can go is a Course Design Cafe. You see the link there for that. So you can go to the Course Design Cafe and get the information there. Each one of the colleges and divisions at Ashford will have a credit hour analysis committee representative. In the case of our colleges, Mark and I represent our colleges, but please contact your representative first with any questions. And if you do have additional questions, or you need to submit any completed documents that you have done, you submit that to credithour@ashford.edu. And then you can also send those to your program manager with the completed course development resources. And please do us a favor, keep a copy of the completed CHA tool for your records. It's been a pleasure sharing this information over the last 2 videos, and we hope that you've gained a lot from this. And on behalf of Mark and I, we are here to help if you do have questions, but feel free to reach out to any of your committee representatives from your college. And we do wish you well as you start the process of looking at credit hour analysis in your courses. Okay. We good? Perfect timing. I can't hear you. That's funny.
Can you hear me now?
I can now, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
I was just saying, excellent job. I muted myself on my phone too, so I wouldn't accidentally. Yeah, let's stop recording.